the Weekly Show with David J. Maloney.
This week, David chats with iconic actress Dee Wallace.
And now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome, everyone, to the Weekly Show. I'm your host, David J. Maloney. Tonight, we have the second part of our interview with actress Dee Wallace. Dee has cemented her place as film royalty with her roles in such popular cult classic films as The Howling, The Hills Have Eyes, Cujo, and The Frighteners. She's also worked with some of the greatest directors of her era, including Wes Craven, Peter Jackson, and Steven Spielberg, when she portrayed Elliot's mother in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Back again to finish chatting about her amazing career and current work is actress Dee Wallace. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Cujo just celebrated its 40th anniversary, and we've been talking about it throughout the course of this interview, and because obviously it still stands up after all these years. I'm sure you've heard it by this point, but last year Stephen King said in a podcast that you should have been nominated for an Oscar for that role, and he feels that you should have won.
Very appreciative of that. Thank you.
Did you know that he had such a high opinion of your performance in that film?
I did not until I heard that comment. Thanks, Stephen.
When was the last time you watched it, Cujo?
Oh, the last time I watched the whole movie?
Yeah.
Last year, at a screening that I don't usually, when I go to do Q&As for screenings, I don't usually watch them again. But I hadn't seen it, and oh my God, I said at the end, I feel like I've just shot the whole movie all over again. I could remember everything. I could remember going down. One day we had to get this shot, and it was the last day we could get it. And so the second camera and some makeup assistant took me down to pick up this shot. And all of a sudden, before we did, I went, guys, wait, I've got blood and dirt all over me. Oh, so there was this pile of mud there, and she said, hate to do this, Dee, is this okay? And I went, well, I guess we don't have any choice. We've got like 10 minutes of light here. So they put the blood and the mud on me, and of course there were maggots all the way through the mud. Oh, sure. Because we were working on a working farm, on a ranch. So, I'm actually just started my latest book, and it's not on the healing. My latest healing book just came out, Born, Giving Birth to a New You. If you want the formula for creating everything in your life, it's in there. But the new book is Horror Stories from a Life in Horror Films. And that's one of them.
See, because the thing is, I was gonna then move forward, and talk about your prolific writing career, which is, for people who don't know, is mostly centered around the experience of self, and the experience of creating yourself. And I understand your first one was conscious creation. Is that
yes.
Correct? And then
correct.
You mentioned Born, which hit the New York Times bestsellers list and has been receiving rave reviews from readers. I know this because I sometimes actually read the reviews on Amazon. What was the impetus that made you sit down and write Born?
I do private sessions, 3 or 4 private sessions daily when I'm not shooting. And it was just apparent to me that everybody studied it, read about it, talked about it, went to classes about it, but nobody was living it. So if you don't live it, your life doesn't change, guys. And it's really creating your life and manifesting what you want is really pretty easy when you know the formula. And the place that we all have to start is within us. Everybody looks outside to what they want to create. No, what you start within and get yourself into alignment with what you want. Know exactly what it is, match it up with love, and ask the universe to work with you. Your life will change, I guarantee you. This book is so easy to read. It's so simple. Anybody can understand this book. Born.
Do you think that, I mean, there are a lot of successful people out there who don't kind of subscribe necessarily to that belief system, but if you can kind of look at the way that they live their life, it almost to me seems as if they're drawing upon those things without even necessarily knowing it. They're just that they're already doing it. There doesn't have the label.
I did before I knew exactly what I was doing. I mean, I went to New York. I didn't know anybody. Nobody knew me. Everybody said, "Don't go. Are you crazy?" I said, "Thanks for sharing. I'm going anyway." And I went, I'm off to see the wizard, right? The first day in New York, I had set up an audition with Hal Prince for a little night music. Between the time I left Kansas and the time I started in ET was a little over 7 years. That's unheard of. Yeah. It's unheard of until you do it. But you see, I'm a big believer in naivete. Yeah, because when you're naive, you're Dorothy.
You don't know any better.
To see the wizard to get what you want.
Well, you can't be your own enemy either. You know, you can't.
When you're naive, you don't feel the fear. You don't feel the limitations. You don't feel, oh, what if I don't make it? It's just exciting to go do what you want to do. I had 6 specialists tell me I would never have a child. Well, now she's 35 and just gave me my first grandbaby.
Wow, congratulations.
Again, I said, thanks for sharing. God and I have a different plan. And you can use the word God, energy, the force, brain science. It's all the same. Brain science is saying exactly the same thing as the good book does. Think only on these things: love, joy, peace, happiness. Because as brain science says, whatever you think on and focus on, you create more of it in your life. What we think about is a choice. We have to be more conscious of what we're choosing. Do you know, I got up when the pandemic hit and I went, oh my God, how am I going to make a living? And the channel said to me, Dee, the business isn't your living, your consciousness is your living. Get up every day and say, what can I create today? I had 2 of the best years of my life. It's miraculous and it's easy, guys, and you have to do it.
You've talked before about how ET kind of, in a very interesting way, connected so much of the subject matter of what you write about. What are the connecting points?
Well, okay, ET's message: keep your heart open, know what you want. He wanted to go home. Work with other energy, the kids, to create that. And then trust, right? Trust that your people are going to find you. Trust that the energy is going to answer you. Trust that you will receive what you've asked for. It's everything I teach. I just wasn't aware of it until I started writing books about it.
And when you write about asking and choosing what we want. What do you mean by that?
So somebody, when I'm out speaking, somebody can come up on stage and I'll go, okay, what do you want? Well, I don't want to have to worry about money anymore. Great. What do you want? Well, I don't want to be afraid that I don't have enough money. Great. What do you want? Well, I don't want to feel like my bank account's all. This can go on, I'm not kidding, for 20 minutes until they get so pissed off at me. They say, God, I want more money. And I went, first time you told me what you wanted. And that's what we do. We think by knowing what we don't want, that that's going to create a clear message to the universe about what we do want. No, that's only the first step. As soon as you know what you don't want, you say, oh, well, then I do want this. And I am creating this through love right now. And I got to talk about love for a minute, because we all think it's some namby-pamby little soft emotion. Love is literally the strongest force of creation there is. According to my channel, anything you want, love it more. So you see, that person didn't love money because they didn't have money. So they then, and the easiest way to do this, I'm like doing a mini webinar here.
Yeah.
The easiest way to do this is to find your love place. And your love place is anything you think of that immediately opens your heart and puts a smile on your face. I go to my doggie, my favorite place in nature, my new grandson. So, David, find your love place. Got it?
I got it.
Okay, so just go down into your heart and wallow in that love. Now tell me one thing you want. One thing you want to create?
Permanent peace for my family.
Okay. Go to your love place. That's what permanent peace for your family feels like. But you see, we look out and we see the non-peace and we want to fix everything. And then we focus on the non-peace, and whatever we focus on, we create more of. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah.
What is, let's talk about, you said you've got the newest book now. Let's talk about that.
Well, I've just started writing it. I'm in the middle of the chapter on Cujo.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But I mean, there are so many horrifying stories that happen on horror films, on every film, but especially on horror films, or any films that have a lot of physicality and emotion and makeup and special effects and all that. Yeah. So that's what I'm going into detail about, all the things that I went through to bring some of these wonderful performances to life.
Your writing has been impactful enough that, for people, that they gave you your first TED Talk a couple years ago. How did that opportunity come about?
Well, how it happened is exactly what I just explained to you. I decided I wanted to do one. I said, I am going to do a TED Talk this year. And I am doing a TED Talk on my healing work and what I really know and understand about the creation process. Literally within 3 weeks, something came across my computer about a TED Talks, and the subject matter was exactly what I wanted to talk about. And I wrote to them and they said, "Oh my God, we'd be honored to have you come down and do a TED Talk." And that's how it happened. But you see, most people go, "Oh, well, I don't know who to call. I don't know. I don't know. Am I good enough to do it? I don't know anybody." Our mental mind. Look, guys, your mind is made to question and doubt. Your heart is made to know. If you want to get something done, follow your heart. And you've been hearing this. Peter Pan, the Wizard of Oz, you had the power all along, Dorothy. E.T., keep your heart open. Peter Pan, think happy thoughts and you fly. We hear it and we hear it and we hear it, but we don't live it.
Yeah, it goes in one ear and out the other so often.
We got to live it.
Wrapping up, viewers can find you most recently on the Paramount Plus show Fatal Attraction alongside Joshua Jackson, Lizzie Kaplan, which got quite the buzz right now. What was it like working on that show? I mean, again, another wonderful cast too, huh?
Phenomenal. Oh my God, I loved working with Lizzie so much. I didn't really get to work with David, but Lizzie and I could be sisters. I would be the older one, of course, but we just had a ball. I adored the director. And do you know the animal trainer of the little bunny was Carl Miller's, I believe, daughter. Carl Miller was the trainer of the dogs in Cujo. I just
a full circle moment right there,
full
huh?
Circle. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it was, I really had a great time on the show.
In retrospect, as you look back in your career, is there one scene in your career that was your absolute favorite to shoot?
Oh my God, I've never been asked that question. Oh, that's a hard one to come up with on the spur of the moment. You know that when you asked it, the first scene I saw was where Danny's crying in the car. "I want my daddy," and I went, "Or your father," I think I said. That's the first scene that came, and the second scene was the dinner table scene in E.T. Like I said, night and day, right? But you know that scene with Danny, Dan Blatt, our producer, came to me the next day and said, "Dee, we looked at the dailies. My God, that's such a strong scene, but we're afraid the audience won't like you. Would you take a look at it and let us know what you feel?" And I looked at it and I said, "Dan, if you cut this scene, you're crazy. There is not a parent in the world that has not felt that emotion, whether they acted on it or not." And do you know that was one of the best reviewed and talked about moments in the film?
There you have it.
So maybe that's why, I don't know, but that's the first one I saw, and E.T.'s was the second.
Now, you mentioned the book you're writing right now. Is there any film or TV project? You did say something about some of the holiday type films. Do you have anything that's in the works that we should be on the lookout for you?
I have 3 things that are completed, coming out sometime. I don't, I just I was fortunate to do a couple of projects that were SAG waivers that abided by the, contracts.
Yeah.
And I just got an offer for another film in, I think it's February. I haven't even read the script yet. So I'm just a little working fool, David. I'm just going to I'm the Energizer Bunny. I'm going to keep going till I drop.
Dee, how can our viewers follow you? I mean, are you on certain social media platforms, whether it be with writing or your
hold on, because I can't ever remember them. Okay. Instagram is at the Dee Wallace. Twitter is at capital DEE _ capital W for Wallace. And Facebook is simply Dee Wallace. Why they can't all be the same, I don't know. But my assistant set them up for me. So,
Dee, thank you so much.
And my website is iamdeewallace.com. If you're interested in the healing stuff, there's a lot of free things to listen to there that can really help you get started.
Dee, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, what a pleasure. This has been a great ride. And I can't believe that question you asked. I'm going to get off and go think about that now. Thank you, David.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dee Wallace. That's our show for tonight. A special thanks to actress Dee Wallace for joining us once again. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone.